Pentagon has announced over $5 billion in spending cuts. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth signing a memorandum detailing the cuts to the Department of Defense through terminated contracts. The National News Desk's Jeff Harris has more on which contracts are going away.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the contracts amounted to, quote, non-essential spending on third-party consultants from companies like Deloitte and Booz Allen. Hegseth adding current department employees will now be taking over those services.
In a video on X this week, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announcing billions in spending cuts.
$5.1 billion in DoD contracts for ancillary things like consulting and other non-essential services.
Hegseth noting the Department of Defense needs this money for better health care for warfighters and their families instead of $500 an hour business process consultants.
DHA contracts for consulting services from Accenture, Deloitte, Booz Allen, and other firms. They're going to save the department $1.8 billion.
Michael Wallace, retired military who worked as a contractor at the Pentagon, tells us since these cuts have more to do with consulting, they likely don't pose a national security risk.
There's probably no harm in looking at these contracts and making sure that the best interest of the U.S. military, the Department of Defense, and the United States, are these really supporting the warfighter?
But he does say you need to be cautious transferring the work to the current department workforce because overloading employees could create problems.
If you put too much on these military personnel, then that's going to lead to decreased morale, and that might lead to retention problems in the future.
Now, Hegseth added the department is cutting 11 contracts related to DEI, climate change, and also the pandemic. Pentagon officials are also working to reduce its civilian workforce by 5 to 8%. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.